Greetings. How are you today? Hope this day finds you safe, healthy, and happy, and that you are enjoying your best life, doing whatever it is you're doing. You have to bear with me here. I just reached under the table because my lighting is obviously god awful. I thought I just tested it here before I went on the air, but I guess I could have done a better job, huh? Anyway, this is the New Thought Media Network. I'm Ken Ludwig, and you are watching the Vibrant Living Hour. Hope this day, like I said, is finding you doing your best, man. Whatever it is you're doing, whatever, my daddy always used to say that whatever's worth doing is worth doing right. And I hope that's what's going on in your world. I hope you're just doing it right, doing what works for you. Yeah, that's simple. Is that lighting better? That lighting better? This has got to go down a little. There you go. Okay, I guess. You know what? We're going to have to work with it today. That's just the way it's going to work. So let's do what we always do. Let's start the day with a little bit of Dr. Ernest Holmes. The only problem is going to be I can't see because I didn't get my reading light. So I don't know what I'll do about that. Let's see if we can make this work. You know what? I'm sorry, but that's just not going to work. So you're just going to have to bear with me for a second here. I'm going to leave my studio. You'll hear me leave the studio, and I'll be back. That wasn't so bad, now was it? I am here, I am returning, and we have the reading lights. The interesting thing about trying to light up a room to make a studio is that you have to have it dark enough in the room to make it work. I guess I still haven't figured it out totally, but one of the things that I need is a little light here down under my desk to read. So here we go. We're going to see what Dr. Holmes has to say for us today out of this thing called you. We start every Thursday with reading from this book. The law of good is continuously operative in my life. I am always equal to any task set before me. I am confident of my ability to meet every situation. I can solve every problem, overcome every difficulty. Realizing that spirit knows no obstruction, I have implicit confidence in its ability to operate through me always and under every situation. So it is. There you go. Dr. Holmes getting us started. I posted today's stories about what is vibrant living to you? Or how about vibrant aging? What does it mean to you? What does that encompass? And I've been thinking about it, as time passes, and the old expression, right? Time waits for no one. You can do all you want to do around thinking that you are creating more time for yourself, good time management, blah, 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 blah. Time ticks by. And one of the things that I have always found very interesting is the knowledge that, mom and dad or somebody told you back in the day that time flies as you're getting older. And the part I find fascinating is the fact that it's not just something somebody made up. It is literally a physiological fact that the human mind experiences time at a faster pace as we age. So you're not imagining it. Time is flying by. That's the way your mind is experiencing it as you grow older. I'm still got this, boy, I'm sorry. I have a terrible shine today. I don't know what that's about. That's a little better. Anyway, some days it works, some days it doesn't. But the idea is that one thing we are all going to experience is growing older. We're going to experience, the old things, man. We experience in common, all of us are going to be born, we're going to age, and we're going to die. Depending on your point of view, the amount of years that you live is a good thing, a bad thing, or indifferent. I always said when somebody maybe at a younger age passes and people say, oh, that person died so young. And my thought is always, no one ever questioned when they were born. And I think when they go is exactly the perfect time for them to go, because we have no idea what that particular individuation of the oneness is here to do, and when it's done doing it, and when it wants to go home. I always maintain that the part of me that animates me, the part of you that animates you, that part of us is always aware of when the party's over and when it's going back home, back to the source, back to the oneness. And it knows that. We don't know it, but it knows. And when it goes, it doesn't care how it goes, depending on what the experience is that it wants to have, or that it has chosen to have beforehand, or the people around it need to have. That all plays into how it goes, but it goes when it's exactly supposed to, and it doesn't pay any mind to human years, if you will. But the question is, what's vibrant living? Vibrant living takes on many, many meanings for many, many people. We all are in different situations, and as we get older, I look at my friends. I have four really close friends that go all the way back to high school. These are people I've known over 50 years. And each of us has a different experience of aging. Each of us has our own little quirks, our little things that Mother Nature has taken away from us, if you will, that we now have to learn to live with. And that's the key piece, is to learn to live with them, to enjoy your life when things get taken away from you. So here's an example of me. Okay. I hurt my back for the first time when I was 16 years old. That was that was a long time. It was almost 57 years ago. First time I hurt my back. I've been aware of my back and its potential to get twisted or go out or whatever for all these years. And occasionally it happens. It doesn't happen a lot, but it's happened over time once in a while. And I know I talked about this on the show years ago, that I was diagnosed with degenerative disc disease, or DDD as they call it. And I'd always kind of confounded me a little bit, because there is no disease involved. There's no pathogen. It is just the age-related or injury-related degeneration of the discs between your spine, between the bones of your spine, the vertebrae of your spine. And it can be, as I said, it's either from age or from an injury. It can be one or the other, or it can be both. In my case, I think it's primarily just about getting older, and it is, your spine moves a little bit, your discs start to degenerate as you get older. The parts of your body that depend on moisture, like your discs and the cartilage in your knees, those things, they start to maybe dry up or just kind of deteriorate over time. And so I've got that problem in my back. I have the arthritis in my knees, which is the fluid in the knees, the connective tissue, not the connective tissue, oh my goodness gracious me. The shock absorbing, there you go, tissue in my knees is gone away, and you wind up with what they call bone on bone, where you just feel discomfort when you bend or whatever. And also I have a ruptured bicep tendon in my right arm. There is no tendon connecting my bicep to my shoulder. The good news is I have no pain there. But the interesting news is, it's, first of all, it looks very different from my left arm, but also it is, it's an impediment as far as my ability to do things with that right arm. Not a big one, but it's there. And little things, little odds and ends. The men get older and we have prostate issues, and that contributes to maybe not getting the sleep we need to get. And all these little things that Mother Nature kind of diminishes our body, if you will, as we grow older. The key piece, though, is to grow older. It's not to get old. When I was first diagnosed with the DDD, my doctor said to me, "You know what, Ken, your proactive approach to this, the exercise and the meditation and the yoga and things that I did to strengthen my core muscles and to support my back as best I could," she said, "that's going to make all the difference." Because she said, too often I give out this diagnosis and people hear that their back is deteriorating, or the discs in their spine are deteriorating, and they go resign themselves to the couch and just get old. Well, I'm going kicking and freaking screaming is how I'm going out. So that's not going to be my thing. But that's the key point there is what my doctor said. Being proactive in physically and mentally about what you're going to do to deal with these things. Now, part of that is good common sense. Okay. I mean, for my one of my favorite books on the aging process is Growing Bolder. Growing Bolder is it's a great book by Mark Middleton. And by the way, Growing Bolder is a whole movement. It's a whole group of people. You can become a part of their community. He has my favorite expression about aging in here. If you want to keep moving, you got to keep moving. That's just good common sense. And I know I've been going to the senior center here. That's one of the few advantages of being older is I get to go to the senior center, which is free. And I work out there 3 times a week now in their gym. And I love their gym, but there are more people who come in there simply to walk the periphery of their actual gymnasium multiple times every morning, every afternoon. They come in there. I'm sorry, it's every morning. It's up until 10 o'clock in the morning. I can't believe the numbers of people. More people come to do that than do almost anything else in this place, just to walk around. Most of them are older than me, but some of them are in my same age bracket that have some infirmities that don't allow them to do much else, but they walk. And none of them really walk less than a half an hour or an hour. And they come out, they tell the receptionist who keeps track on a computer, did 31 laps, did 28 laps, whatever it was. Excuse me. I'm having a little cough issue this last week here. So there's that movement piece to find ways to move your body. I heard somebody else talk the other day about someone I'd never heard before talk about the idea that if we are not building muscle on our body, we are just simply losing muscle. We all suffer from what's called sarcopenia. Sarcopenia is simply age-related muscle wasting. It is a function of growing older. Now, the interesting piece about that is you can do something about that. You can continue to build lean muscle tissue on your body. And I'm doing it right now. I have changed the entirety of my upper body by working out, like I said, 3 times a week. I do 30 minutes on the sit-down elliptical machine. I don't want to do the stand-up. I don't want to have the impact on my knees. So I do the sit-down elliptical machine, and I do 30 minutes on that, and then I do 30 minutes of lifting, and then I do 15, 20 minutes of stretching and yoga. And that is my routine 3 times a week. Now, that's a lot for some people. That may be more than you can handle, but that doesn't mean you can't do something. It's the old adage is I don't have an hour a day to work out. Well, how much do you have? Well, I have 10 minutes. Well, do 10 minutes. 10 minutes is better than nothing. Trust me, by a long shot. So there's some things I want to give you, some resources. And the first resource I threw, it's right here. I didn't throw it away. The first resource is the one I held up, Growing Bolder by Mark Middleton. This is an extraordinary read just around the aging process and some things we can do to make life easier for ourselves and to learn to live with the limitations of the physical body as it ages. The next one I have is, this is by a guy named Chris Crowley and a doctor named Henry Lodge, Younger Next Year. There's a book called Younger Next Year. There's also a book called Younger Next Year for Women. Because this was written around the experiences of this fella, Chris Crowley, and his experience with Dr. Lodge and what they did to have him literally feeling like he was aging backwards. He was growing younger. Younger Next Year. Great, great book. Gives you great ideas on how to stay healthy, stay alive, stay moving, and take care of yourself. Do Not Go Quietly by George and Sedana Caponelli. This is a book I came in contact with many years ago. They did a little meet and greet at George and Sedana Caponelli. See that there? They did a little meet and greet at Mile High Church in Lakewood, Colorado, and a little mini lecture, and it was really, really, really good. And it was very much about ideas, things you can do to keep yourself occupied, to grow older in a comfortable, excited, engaged, embracing fashion. There's some book ideas. I talked about movement. The next thing is diet. You've got to pay attention to what you eat. Now, I know lots of people are big meat eaters, big carb eaters. That's what we do. I mean, we eat lots of meat and lots of carbs as Americans. But cutting back on the meat, in particular red meat, and all processed meats is a big deal. Cutting back on the carbs, in particular, the carbs that would be gluten-carrying carbs, all the white breads and I'm a real pasta lover. And the thing, the problem is with loving pasta is, As you get older, it gets harder to digest all of that that gluten to begin with, but also it's a lot of calories without impact. They're calories, they're idle calories. They're calories that turn to sugar. If you don't burn them up, they turn to fat. If they turn to fat, you don't have the capacity as you age to burn it off as well as you did when you were younger. So, and that's the piece about the movement and the food. You need to basically don't be eating any more calories than what you're burning every day. And for all intents and purposes, as we age, we would probably do well to do things almost like we were trying to lose weight, which is to work in the category of a calorie deficit every day, meaning you eat less calories than you're burning. That way you're not turning anything to fat. You're staying lean, because if you're moving that much to do that without cutting your your calories to a dangerous level, if you are moving enough to burn the calories that keep you from having idle calories turn to fat, then you are definitely building muscle. And the most surefire way to forestall the aging process is to continue to build muscle every single day for the rest of your life. And like I said, it can be done. By the way, I can see you folks are out there. If you can make a comment or ask a question, please do so. If you got something you want me to talk about, I'm happy to talk about it. I can't see where you're coming. I can see where you're coming from, but I can't tell if that is a place where you can actually make a comment. The only way I will know is if you make a comment and it shows up here in my StreamYard chat. Otherwise, it'll be on one of the pages that we post this on, one of the 4 Facebook pages or 2 YouTube channels that we post the show on. And if I see your comments on one of those, I will definitely comment. Unfortunately, that will be after the show, though. But anyway, so the idea that we wanted to move to lots of fresh fruits and vegetables. We want to eat as raw as we can. Don't eat processed stuff. Use things that are as close as you can get them from the ground to the table. That's the best. Eating organic produce. Pay attention to the Dirty Dozen. The Dirty Dozen is all the fruits and vegetables. They publish it I think they maybe publish it on a monthly basis. I know they do it at least quarterly, where they tell you what are the fruits and vegetables that are the most sprayed with pesticides and insecticides, so that you should stay away from, where you would be ingesting that stuff if you eat those items. Of course, that leads to trying as best one can to eat as much organic stuff as possible. But understand, not everything has to be organic. So check the list and check the things that need to be organic. Anything that can be grown GMO, tomatoes, corn, those kinds of things, you want to be organic. I wouldn't touch an ear of corn in this entire country unless it said organic on it, because God only knows what the hell that is at this stage in the game. And corn should be eaten definitely in moderation, because it is a very, very high caloric and high sugar vegetable, unlike most others. So light on the carbs, lots of fruits and vegetables, lots of nuts, a handful of nuts, a small handful of nuts, half a dozen almonds, 2 Brazil nuts, a small handful of walnuts every single day. Pistachios are really, really, really healthy nuts. Have some nuts every single day. Or some seeds, pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds, those kinds of things. If you like those, easy on the red meat, and make your animal protein. If you're eating animal protein, make it really make it small. Make it 4 to 6 ounces, the size of your palm. Okay, now I know people say, well, everybody's palm is different. Well, that's because big people have big palms. They probably need a few extra calories in that red meat. In that animal protein. So whatever the size of your palm is, no bigger than that. I have a friend who says that the meat should be a condiment almost, and that you should have more in the way of your vegetables, more than anything else, and then the starch, whatever that is. And if you go, lean towards rice, lean toward brown rice, quinoa, there's so many choices that you can have as the side dish that would normally, for a lot of us, would be potatoes or pasta. So those are the food things. That's a really brief overview. Oh, one more food thing. Drink your water. All right. Now I have come into a time in my life where I am dealing with a nephrologist. Nephrologist studies kidneys. I am having an issue where I'm just going to be bluntly honest with you, man. I am peeing way more than I'm comfortable peeing, and always been somebody with a small bladder. I always went a lot, but now it's just kind of gotten ridiculous. Well, Come to find out, the nephrologist is pretty sure that my kidneys are perfectly healthy. There's no growths. There's no nothing. There's nothing to suspect that I'm doing, that something's wrong with my urinary tract in any way, shape, or form. The nephrologist has determined that what I'm having a problem with is called concentration. Concentration is that I drink so much liquid that my kidneys are not concentrating the liquid into quantities that will fill my bladder and then eliminate on a regular basis. Instead, what I got going on is a constant feeling that I have to go almost all the time because my kidneys are not concentrating the fluid. So my nephrologist has said to me, she wants me to cut back on the fluids I drink. Now, I have always thought you want to do half your body weight in ounces of water because that is what will keep you hydrated for certain. And that's just been a rule of thumb I used in the weight loss protocols that I coach people on for the last dozen years. But what I think I've come to understand is that we really probably need 2 quarts of water, 64 ounces a day, unless you're really a big person. If you're really little, maybe less than that, 64 ounces a day of water. And maybe you have a cup of coffee or a cup of tea or two, but you don't want to do any more than, say, half a quart, which would be, 16 ounces, 20 ounces of that kind of stuff. Excuse me. If you have a shake, maybe 24 ounces, maybe 30 ounces. The net is, though, I think what we really want to do is, rather than someone like me who is doing well over 200 ounces of liquid a day, really want to get down my nephrologist, until I reset my kidneys, wants me in the 80 to 100 ounces of water a day. I think probably 120 is really where we should set our sights. Especially for you men who are having any kind of those prostate or urinary tract issues. The other thing is, that's it on that stuff. The next part, of course, is your mindset. What are you doing, man? How is your life unfolding? Are you happy? Are you engaged? Do you have friends? Do you have community? Community is a huge piece of the puzzle. And I think that is, it's one of the things that I'm looking for here in North Carolina. I had a huge community in Colorado. Now here in North Carolina, not so much. And I got a comment here from one viewer here. Freddie, that's exactly perfect. He drinks lots of water. He doesn't eat fruit, but he eats lots and lots of vegetables and fish and salmon. And that's a great way to start. And the only thing I'd throw in there is, man, get yourself a few nuts to eat every day. But back to the mindset thing. The mindset is not just how you think. It's all the things that you bring into your life that affect how you look at life, how you view life. Are you lonely or are you engaged? Are you sad or are you happy? Are you depressed or are you totally engaged in life? Are you embracing what you're doing? Do you have a hobby? Do you read? Do you go out and just do things outdoors? Do you garden? Do you go to church? I'm not going to be a proponent of religion for anyone. I'm not a big fan of organized religion. It's one of the reasons why I've always followed the science of mind, or for the last 20 years or whatever it's been that I've been following. God, it's been more than 20 years. It's been almost 30 years I've been following the science of mind. Because I even though we have been accepted into the Parliament of the World's Religions, I have always looked at it as a religious philosophy, not particularly an organized religion. But anyway, regardless of that, it is the community that's important. I have always said, even when I went to church in Colorado every single week at Mile High Church, I always said that the time I spent after service in the community center was every bit as important as every minute I spent in the service. I might have gotten something intellectual, something about the science of mind, something spiritual there, but my connections were all in the community center. It was all about being with friends and being with like-minded people and enjoying the day, maybe going out for lunch, those kinds of things. We had an enormous community. Not so much here in North Carolina. I'm working on that. Part of the reason I go to the gym every week instead of using my own equipment here at home 3 times a week to the gym is there's a little teeny bit of community there. There's not a lot of people there at 8 o'clock in the morning when I go, but there's a few people that I'm getting to know and they're getting to know me, and we're having a good time. We have a Unitarian Universalist church here in Winston-Salem, which is a 40-minute trip for us, or 45 minutes. And we've developed a little bit of community there. Actually, I've had dinner with a couple of couples, and we've had breakfast a couple of times with people. So we're meeting new people that way and getting to know folks here. little by little. It's interesting. The grocery stores are not a whole lot different than they are in Colorado, and that when you treat people who work in stores, you treat service people, you treat people in restaurants, waitresses and waiters, you treat them well, you treat them as a friend, and they start to recognize you very, very quickly. That's a little bit of community building, but it gets you, it's out of the house, and it's being with people, and it's engaging with people. That's hugely important to that community piece. The other thing I'm going to tell you is I'm revisiting a book I read a couple of years ago, Michael Singer's The Surrender Experiment. If you are familiar with Michael Singer, he wrote The Untethered Soul, an amazing book in and of itself. But for some reason, I was called to read this again. And in reading it again, of course, it's the same old story, man. Second time you read a book, not only is the book different, but you're not the same person either. So you're different and the book's different. And you get a whole different thing with the book. So I'm really, really, really pleased with reading that, because it's about surrendering to life. It's about giving up my ideas of what it is I prefer, what I would like. I've always said my favorite definition of the word forgiveness is giving up the idea that the past could have been any different. Well, the surrender experiment is about giving up the idea that the present could be any different. It is what it is. I'm a firm believer that every moment is a manifested moment, but is it manifested from what we desire, or is it manifested from what we desire not to have? Is it manifested from something that will get us to our desire? It's all a process of us and our expansion and growth into that next highest vision of who we came here to be. And that's what the surrender experiment is about for me. It's about giving you the opportunity to just stop and say, okay, this is what life is presenting to me. I'm going to learn to say yes more than I say no. That's a big deal. By the way, even in Mark Middleton's book, The Growing Bolder, he talks all the time, or not all the time, but he talks about it in a whole chapter, I think, that as we age, it gets too easy to say no. And I think anybody can get that. You want to go out? No. You want to go to the movies? No. You want to go to dinner? No. Why? Because we're comfortable. Where we're at. We got our easy chair. We got our remote control. We got our 700-inch TV set big as a friggin' movie screen in front of us. And we got dinner on the table, and we don't need to do anything, go anywhere. Say yes. Get out. Do things. Experience life. I'm actually, it's really funny, because I've found myself becoming very aware of how often I say no. And I'm now being much more open to the idea of saying yes. Take what life presents you and enjoy it. And the only other piece I'm going to give you is, I've said the words a couple of times here on this show, but this is, in my humble opinion, the greatest book ever written, The Science of Mind by Ernest Holmes. This gives you all the information you are ever going to need in this realm to live a good, happy, prosperous, fruitful, joy-filled life, filled with good relationships, good friendships, good experiences. And it's all about science of the mind. Not about science of what we can have, science of what we can do. It's the science of the mind. The book is The Science of Mind. Too many people say the science of the mind. It is about the science of the mind, but the book is The Science of Mind. And the mind that we're talking about there is the one mind, the science of that mind, and how it interacts with this mind, or this antenna for that mind. There you go. Sleep on that one a little bit. That's all I got for you today. I want you to remember that the New Thought Media Network is a nonprofit organization, and we live and breathe by virtue of your donations. And so please remember to go to somebody move my cheese here. Where'd it go? Oh, amazing. Somebody moved that. There it is. Wow. New Thought Media Network. Click on donate and give us whatever your little heart desires. It's newthoughtmedia.org, ntmedia.org. Click on donate. We are absolutely grateful, beyond a feeling of being blessed by your generosity that keeps us going, keeps us moving. If you want to find me, please send me an email at teamrockitnow@gmail.com. You can find me on the internet. You can find the sponsor of our show. I don't have any of my props up here today, but go to www.hempworks with an X, hempworks.com/Ken Ludwig. That will take you right to my site. You will see some of the greatest products available on the marketplace today, all about your health and wellness, but all about so many other things. Excuse me. Hopefully by next week, I'll be done with this cold or whatever this cough is coming from. Best products you're going to find anywhere that are not just for your health and wellness, but for lots of other things you can do with your body. You can find me on Instagram at evolving_hippie. That is me. You can also, where else can we send you here? There's new people whose information has been put here. I'm going to go. I can tell I'm about to get into a coughing fit here, so I'm going to get out of here as quickly as I can. You can also find my beloved Lisa and I at our dedicated branded Facebook page, Vibrant Aging. Vibrant Aging, of course, goes right along with this show, Vibrant Living. There is the donation button for New Thought Media. And as always, I am immensely grateful for the amazing gift of your time and your attention. I wish you all the love and all the blessings that the universe has to offer. I hope you will visit me every Thursday at 2 o'clock Mountain Time, 4 o'clock Eastern Time. But until then, my friends, namaste.